Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Help Me Understand. I'm your host, Michelle Fenelon. Here's a hot take for you. The Baltimore Ravens are not the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. The biggest threat to the Chiefs are the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I said it. When I said hot take, I meant right out of the oven hot. Joining me later to help me understand if the Bills are as good as their 4-0 record is the host of the Out of My League podcast, Deshaun Abrams. The Buffalo Bills are 4-0 for the first time since 2008 when Trent Edwards was the quarterback of the team. That same year, in typical Bills fashion, after the hot start, they ended up finishing the season with a 7-9 record and missed the playoffs. I know what you're thinking. This is the same Buffalo Bills team. What's different this year than in the past? I'm here to tell you that you are wrong. This is a different Bills team. And what's different is the offense and quarterback Josh Allen. Allen has looked like a different quarterback this year. He's poised, he's confident, and most importantly, he's making better decisions than he has in the past. Allen is ranked second in passing yards and touchdown passes this season. His connection with newly acquired wide receiver Stefon Diggs has been a huge spark for the offense. Diggs and Allen, that chemistry is only going to improve as the season progresses. Listen, people, the AFC East is open, wide open for the first time in 2 decades. The New England Patriots are just not as good as they've been in the past. They don't have a quarterback named Tom Brady. New quarterback Cam Newton, we don't know when he's going to return from his positive COVID-19 test. The offense is just not as talented, and wide receiver Julian Edelman is older now. He's banged up and not as healthy as he's been in the past. Not only are the Bills good enough, and in fact, in the driver's seat in that AFC East, they are good enough to compete against the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC. Joining me now to help me understand if the Bills are as good as their 4-0 record is the host of the Out of My League podcast, Deshaun Abrams. Deshaun, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I already mentioned the Bills are 4-0. Are they as good as their record?
They are. I think they're poised to make a run in the AFC East for sure, and then obviously in the AFC. When you look at the Bills, it's really a 3-year project. You look at how the team was built from the inside out, right? So they started with the defensive line, and then Sean McDermott's a defensive head coach, so he then built his defense out with the safeties. You got Trey White at corner, and then this year you grab Josh Norman. So you have your team built out from the inside. Our offensive line looks really good, outstanding, physically rough team, and you look at one of these things where their offensive scheme, like Brian Daboll, their offensive coordinator, very multiple in the way they go about their offense, right? They'll do 2 tight end sets. They'll do power run scheme. They'll line up, 11 personnel. Stefon Diggs coming over from Minnesota looks very good, kind of poised team. But the Buffalo Bills are prime. They're ready.
You mentioned head coach Sean McDermott and that he's a defensive coach. You also talked a little bit about the offense. Josh Allen has led that offense to at least 30 points in 3 of their 4 games. Who do you give most of the credit to for the Bills' hot start?
I will give it to Brian Daboll and Josh Allen, because when you look at the team and how it's built, right, it's more so a run, a lot of play action, but they've really, made their team a little bit multiple in their offensive scheme. Like I said, a lot of 11 personnel, 2 tight end packages, and then they kind of bolted off their the run game a little bit. So you have Devin Singletary, you have Zach Moss, and those guys running behind that nice physical offensive line. So, and then, that obviously puts Josh Allen in a good position, because what are they most efficient on? 3rd down in the red zone. So that's what you need if you're going to excel in offense. Allen
has taken a huge leap this year as the starting quarterback. He's making better decisions. He looks poised in the pocket. And his favorite receiver, Stefon Diggs, has been huge. Also, he's tied for first in the league with most receiving yards with 403 yards. How much do you attribute Allen's success to the way Stefon Diggs has been playing?
I will say this offseason, obviously with COVID and things like that, it's been really hard to get, rapport with, your top weapons, right? So, Stefon Diggs comes over from Minnesota in a trade. Buffalo gave up obviously a lot to get him, but it's well worth it. I mean, Stefon Diggs is only 25 years old, still premier, elite route runner. He can do the whole thing. So when you look at their offense, and I give credit to the Buffalo Bills, because this offseason, I know McDermott had them had a lot of one-on-one time with each other, even, on the field, off to the field, when the defense is on the field. So they've been really working their timing out and timing and anticipation as a 1-2 threat, right? So you have, Stephon Diggs, you have, the other, John Brown, Cole Beasley, like these guys are all man beaters, right? So when you're spread out in 11 personnel, or even if you bring the tight end with Dawson Knox, right? So you're spreading everybody out, and the defense, you have to kind of pick your poison because all of these guys can win in man-to-man coverage. So, this offense is really explosive in those ways. And like I said, it's a 3-year process, year 1, year 2, year 3 with the Buffalo Bills.
One thing the Bills have is a good-looking offense.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't have a good-looking offense? The New England Patriots, who have dominated the AFC East for the past 2 decades. No quarterback Tom Brady, new quarterback Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. This year, the Bills are right now in the first place of the AFC East division. Who wins the division? Who wins the division?
I got the Buffalo Bills. I called it before the year, even before they signed Cam Newton. I was looking at how the team was built. Like I said, from the inside out, when you are dominant at the line of scrimmage, you're going to win a lot of ball games. So, and then after you add someone like a Stephon Diggs on the outside to draw attention to the defense, and you have a safety that's going to have to roll over that top, you have Cole Beasley, you have John Brown that can also win a man coverage. So the team, like I said, the team is ready to go. The Buffalo Bills, very well built. Brandon Beane, that general manager, he did a phenomenal job building a team that's going to grow with his quarterback.
You sound very high on the Buffalo Bills. I want to see how high you are on them.
Okay.
How much do you think they are prepared to beat the Kansas City Chiefs for that AFC?
I wouldn't go that far. Like, I wouldn't go that far. Andy Reid and those guys, they're look. Andy Reid is Andy Reid. We know his work speaks for itself. What I will say about the Buffalo Bills is this. They are a team on the rise, right? So they're year 3 of their build. They have a young quarterback still, Josh Allen. I feel like he's grown each year 1, year 2, year 3. However, it's going to come down to him and his decision making, right? So sometimes he can get a little reckless in his play. His throws a little erratic, a little inaccurate sometimes. So you clean up those things at quarterback, you may be okay. You're just not at the Kansas City level right now. You don't have enough weapons on offense to go with what they have.
Deshaun, thank you so much for joining me. The real litmus test for the Bills will be when they face the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 6. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Here's my final thought. The New England Patriots' reign in the AFC East is over. This division belongs to the Buffalo Bills. Quarterback Josh Allen will only get better. The defense will only improve now that cornerback Josh Norman is back from injury. If the Bills shock the world and beat the Chiefs in Week 6, the narrative will change from the Bills being good enough to compete in the AFC to the Bills being good enough to win the AFC. Just remember, you heard it here first. That's all we have for this edition of Help Me Understand. I'm your host, Michelle Fenelon. I'll talk to you later.